So the house that unlocked a family history. So there was a guy named Fred Miller. He's 56 years old and he's an Air Force vet. And he is from Virginia. Southern Virginia has a large family. And every year they like have a huge like family gathering, or actually really all throughout the year they gather all the time, and so like extended family and everything. So there was this huge large house in his hometown that his sister told him about, and was like, we need to buy this house so that we can do, all of our family gatherings. So Miller at the time didn't know that this property that he was getting ready to buy was once a plantation named Sharswood.
Actually, can I interrupt you there? I want to stop using the word plantation and use a much more accurate term, which would be forced labor camp.
Okay, I'm just reading from the,
Sure.
Miller plantation. You can, that's fine. So, but it was named Sharswood, and it was built in the 19, not the 1850s by a slave owning uncle and nephew who shared the last name. And what was crazy is that this guy's brother, so Fred Miller's brother, worked with this white man whose last name was Miller, and this was like 30 years before he bought this house. He was like, "Yo, like, I feel like, like our ancestors might be connected damn near because Miller, you know what I'm saying? Like, could be this is it's a rural town or whatever. So they had no idea. And then come to find out, so the little sister, she talks him into buying the property. He gives this he gives an offer, didn't think he'd get it because he was like, black person, like I don't know. They end up getting in the house and then find out that the slaves that they owned that were at this forced concert, whatever you were calling it,
Yeah. Forced
aka
labor camp.
that, yes, aka plantation for those who know it that way, were their actual family members, which I thought was super fucking wild. Because they bought the house as is, so, like, the inside of the big house is, like, from the 1800s, so there's, like, a little there's all kinds of stuff, to the point now, like, where they have people who have been coming in to preserve the property, and it's, like, a whole thing, like, you can go to the property and see it and everything like that. I'm like, "This is super wild," and there's slave quarters
Ah.
that they discovered, like one of the oldest, most well-preserved ones in the country, which I thought was super dope. I was like, "Oh my," well, not dope.
Where the forced laborers lived.
I know, like, but I mean to have that, because I remember we went to the African American Museum of History in Cincinnati, and they had like a slave quarters that they brought there, and it's just wild to see it because they try to act like this shit is made
Didn't
up, like we
happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it didn't happen, and so
It's really sold as like it was an aggressive jobs program that black people didn't
right.
wanna do because we were lazy.
Yes, it was super crazy, and to the point, and they even found a cemetery on the
Yeah.
land because they bought the house and also like there was like 10 acres of land that they had, and they saw these like rocks in the ground, and come to find out, they were like, yeah, this is where they would bury their dead. So they're
Ugh.
trying to do something now where they can kind of like make it into,
An actual
something
cemetery.
yes, an actual
Yes, and
cemetery.
honor those people because they did too much to be forgotten.
That's
That's the thing, like, they
that's
want
the
us to forget
beauty.
so bad,
Do, but it's like, no, we was like they
and
were
that's what
here.
soul is remembrance. That's why
Yeah.
black people are so soulful, we don't forget, like, because if you black in America, you have to have a long memory because 'cause you're singing a long song.
Hell yeah, you can't forget, man. So I'm gonna
You get
include this,
fucked up.
the amen to that. You sure will. I'm going to I'm gonna put this in the notes so if you guys want to read up on this. I thought it was pretty fascinating because I mean, what are the odds that this house that you passed a million times
I
as
don't
you
think
grew up?
it's a coincidence though. I think we
Nope.
do have a clear connection and like if we are connected, if we have that remembrance, it does call to us. There are things that it's
Mm.
so funny when I do learn about relatives and it'll be stuff that I never knew. I'm like, "Oh, that's where I get that from." Like that's actually like just in me, like just the we will go too long if I really get into it, but I love that. So that is stranger than fiction
It
because real life
really
is
is.
yeah, real life will take you there.